Arguing for the end of adult marijuana prohibition is easy because we have facts, science, reason, compassion, evidence, truth, and logic on our side. It is even easier when researchers catalog it all for us. Learn how to gather the facts on marijuana use, arrests, seizures, rehabs, drug tests, and more in this edition of Drug War Data Mining.
Welcome back, everyone. 22 and a half after the hour. In the data mine today, we get a great study coming out of the National Institutes of Drug Abuse, reported from Washington University in St. Louis. And, you know, it's not often there's a NIDA study that I'm a fan of, but I really love this one because it underscores something that I have said for years now, at least a decade. When we're talking about it, we're winning. And I've made a point throughout all my lectures and demonstrations of expressing how the big change in the political culture in America with respect to marijuana legalization and acceptance of marijuana users has in large part to do with the advent of the internet and social media. I have for a long time argued that part of what kept us down was ignorance and fear and not knowing how many of us there were out there, feeling alone and segregated, the old divide and conquer strategy. But through Twitter and Facebook and all this instant messaging and blogs, people now are able to exchange information about their use of marijuana, their support for marijuana legalization, and their opposition for marijuana prohibition. That has built a cannabis community that is large and vibrant and understands exactly how large we really are and how much political power we actually wield. So in this study that was just posted on the 23rd, just posted today, it analyzed Twitter and the feeds of certain people on Twitter to find out how many pro-marijuana versus anti-marijuana tweets were given in a particular month. And what these researchers found is that 7.6 million tweets were sent between February 5th and March 5th of 2014. They searched using terms like joint, blunt, weed, stoner, bong, ganja, hemp, marijuana, whatever it might be, cannabis. And from that, they discovered more than 7.6 million tweets. And the good news about that, and the bad news for people like Kevin Sabet, is that there were 15 times as many pro-marijuana tweets as anti-marijuana tweets. Kevin, we're kicking your ass in cyberspace, buddy. Absolutely mopping the floor with you in social media. But it's to be expected, considering that we represent the future and the 21st century understanding of marijuana, and those folks are still stuck in the 20th century with their reefer madness prohibition ideas, clunking away on some IBM Selectric typewriter somewhere. Other information about this study, who they were researching were the analysis of Twitter accounts that had more than 775 followers. So a decent Twitter following, and accounts that have a clout score of 44 and above. Clout score just measures how much social media influence you have, like how often do your tweets get retweeted and passed on, how many times are you referenced, and so forth. For example, my @RadicalRuss account, we have over 13,000 followers and a clout score in the 70s, so we're doing pretty good there. Now, they examined a random sample of about 7,000 of these tweets, found that 77% were pro-marijuana, 5% were against, and 18% were neutral. So it's even worse than a 15-time ass-kicking for people like Kevin Sabet on Twitter. Only 1 out of 20 of the tweets were anti-marijuana. And best of all, the reach of those tweets. People tweeting pro-marijuana messages had a total of more than 50 million Twitter followers. That's about 12 times more than the people pushing the anti-marijuana messages. Now, the concern for this, the researchers, Patricia A. Cavazos Reg is her name. She said, quote, "It's a concern because frequent marijuana use can affect brain structures and interfere with cognitive function, emotional development, and academic performance." Once again, it's a case where researchers, when they go to NIDA to try to get money and approval for these studies, have to kind of point out they're trying to find something negative. The study has to be to try to prove something bad about marijuana, and they reach as far as they can to try to come up with a negative. The negative they're trying to push here is that most of those people sending and receiving marijuana tweets were under the age of 25, with many in their teens. And this is brought out by the researchers as being a very scary thing, because we know with more accepting messages and more exposure to marijuana messaging, teens and children are more likely to want to use marijuana, according to their theory. But what I think that severely ignores is the fact that A, marijuana users are already concentrated in the group 25 and below. The ages 18 to 25 features people that smoke marijuana. 1 out of 5 smoke annually. 1 out of 3 smoke annually. 1 out of 5 smoke monthly. So it's no surprise that we're going to see a big demographic bubble in the 18 to 25 age around marijuana smoking. And number 2, when it comes to use of computers and social media tools, it again has a large demographic bulge toward the younger folks. So saying that we got a whole bunch of marijuana tweets coming from people under 25 is hardly surprising, when most of the people smoking marijuana are under age 25, and most of the people using Twitter tend to be younger people. So don't believe the hype on this particular study. Take the good out of this study, which is that our message is winning in cyberspace, and it's damn near impossible to get a negative message on marijuana across through the Twitter platform. It's a very, very friendly place to be if you're a cannabis consumer like me.